Joining us now, Texans radio head coach DeMeco Ryans. Coach, no joint practices this week. Let's start there. What went into the decision? When did you realize that was a good idea?
Yeah, after our game on Saturday and just seeing where we were as a team, we got a little banged up, right, as a team. So I just thought for us to go down to New Orleans, it just wouldn't have been as productive as we would have liked to have been. So just for me, it's always about protecting our team and putting our team first. And that's the mentality that I have for our team. And I'm just thankful for everyone else, the support staff and Cal, being on board and being flexible enough to make this change.
As we said, you're probably saving Mark's P card a little bit. Not going out to dinner at Drago's
no
every single night. No beignets. You're probably saving all of our waistlines. Coach, it's often said about film, it's when you watch the film, it's never as bad as you thought. It's never as good as you thought. So as you went back and you watched the film, what were your overall thoughts about Saturday afternoon?
The one thing that keeps coming up as I watch the film over and over again, we have to be able to control what we can control. And it's all of the mistakes that I saw, they're fixable, right? When it comes to the run game on defense, setting the edge, like let's have proper leverage, let's be outside, turn the ball back inside. When it comes to tackling, let's put ourselves in better position, put body on a body and tackle. Offensively, like let's make sure we're IDing the run game properly, targeting the right guys. We can control that communication. We can control throwing and catching the football. So it all comes back to the fundamentals, right? The techniques that we've been working, the things that we've been stressing over and over again. We just have to do a much better job collectively as a team of taking the meeting rooms to the field.
CJ said after the game, and I'm paraphrasing, and we'll get to his performance in a moment, but he said it's good to have these opportunities for lessons, right? So as a coaching staff, now you've got tape to say, hey, look at this. We can't be doing this because we have Baltimore in a few weeks.
Yeah, no better teacher than experience, right? You have to get out. You have to get that experience, and that's what CJ, all of our young guys are gaining valuable experiences, and that's what the preseason is about. So being able to actually go through a real live rep, being able to mess it up, and now you understand, right, oh, this is what I'll do differently, in this situation. And not just players, it's coaches too. Something I screw up, something that's how I learn better now. It's better to do it now in the preseason than in the regular season where we can all, learn from our mistakes. We can all grow and adapt.
Coach, I don't know that Will Anderson knows a speed other than 100%, which is fantastic in every game situation. What have been your thoughts about what Will has brought to your defense, not only on the field but off the field?
Yeah, Will has been, everything I could have asked for and more, right? When it comes to him being the guy, like you want guys to look at, right? Just watch how Will does it, right? Watch how he shows up to practice every day. That's how everyone should look. Watch how he plays, on game day, full speed every time, right? All out effort, physicality, like that's what it should look like. And that's what Will is. That's what a leader does. He just in his own right, even though he's a young player, a rookie, like that's what leadership looks like. Man, watch me work. I don't have to talk about it, but I'm going to be about it. And everybody just needs to watch him and follow him.
Well, I've watched that sack fumble about 75 times, Coach, and because I really enjoy it. What were your thoughts when you saw that particular play, which went viral?
Yeah, first I was like, wow. Then it was like, oh, get the ball, get the ball. So it was fun seeing him make that play. He's just coming off doing his job, but he's doing it at 100% effort, and it causes a forced fumble there. Hopefully, we can get more guys around the next time to scoop and score.
Coach, this is more a coaching question in general, more so than the game, but one of the things you talked about was throwing and catching the ball. Some guys that didn't catch the ball the other day that had opportunities to do that. From a coaching perspective, when you have guys that normally catch it or make those plays, how do you approach it as a coach? Is it something in which you say something to him, or, hey, that guy's going to know, like he's hardest on himself, I don't really need to say anything? How do you kind of approach something like that, or guys that miss tackles? That guy makes that tackle, but he missed that one, and that was a big one. How do you approach that as a coach?
I approach it in a positive manner, right? Everyone sees the mistake. They know the mistake, so no need of harping on, hey, you didn't catch, hey, you missed this tackle. It's just giving a guy, hey, what if you just look it in all the way? Hey, on this tackle, what if you just take one more step? Hey, just keep your head up on this. So it's just about taking a positive approach. Hey, good job being where you're supposed to be. Now let's just clean up that one or two small details, right? That's how I look at helping guys get better.
You talked about teaching moments, and there you are getting a pick on the first play from scrimmage. So I'm betting the offense might not have expected that to happen and their first appearance to be a play later in a goal-to-go situation. And that's good practice for you never know what's going to happen in a game, right?
Right. Very good practice there because, as you all know, offensively, like you script your first 15 plays, right? And now you get up and it's sudden change.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're not in our first 15 plays. Now we're in red zone. We're close to scoring. So now how do you handle sudden change? So great learning experience there for our offense. Like things can change. And are you ready to adapt? Are you ready to, hey, I know we were on this page, but now, hey, we turned over a few pages. And now can we still operate with the precision that we expect?
And you had that the other way against New England where you had the turnovers and your defense had to go out there and respond, which I think is where we typically think about sudden changes from that perspective. Coach, how important was it to see that particular team this week in joint practice and in the game because it is so very explosive on both sides of the ball? I mean, their defensive front's as good as you're going to find, but the speed that they have with Tyreek and the running backs, et cetera, how good was it to see that team in particular because of all that speed that they have?
Man, I was so thankful to have that matchup, right, in practice and in the game to kind of see where we measure up as a team. And that's why I wanted to go, against the Dolphins because I know they're an explosive team. And that's one thing, right, we have to stop on a defense is we have to eliminate the explosives. And on offense, we want to be an explosive team. So it goes hand in hand. Offensively, you get to see, right, what an explosive offense looks like. And defense, you get to see, like, okay, we have to make sure we defend, these set of plays. Mike did a great job of giving us a ton of issues, right, to work on, challenging our rules defensively in practice. Offensively, I think, with Fangio and the defense, they gave our offense some challenges, some things to improve on, right, learning experiences. Hey, how will we attack these coverages, these fronts a little different, right? I mean, it was very valuable to get those joint practices versus Miami.
Well, you didn't get the ball in the goal to go, but when you got the ball back, you drove. And CJ showed improvement week 1 to week 2, which is exactly what you want to see. What about his progress, Coach?
Yeah, it was very, very encouraging to see him just go out and be comfortable. Right, when that second drive happened, to see him go down and just move the guys down the field. I think it was the 11-play drive. It was fun to see him being comfortable, him having fun playing football, making off-schedule plays, getting the ball out on time when it was supposed to be out. Like, that's the guy we saw at Ohio State, and it was fun to see. And I think overall, why did he play better? Guys in front of him played better. Guys around him played better. And it just goes to show it's not about one guy. As it always gets highlighted, it's about the team, and the team, when the team plays good, like everybody will be successful based on everybody doing their job.
Coach, when you were in linebackers coach, your eyes went right to your linebackers first thing. When you're defensive coordinator, your eyes went right to defense, and you watch your 3 layers of the defense. Now as a head coach, how do you watch the film? How do you go about looking at the film? I would imagine you still have an eye on what your defense is doing, but still, how do you kind of go about watching the film now and investigating what are the things that we need to do on both sides, all 3 phases of the game?
Right, yeah. When I watch the film, I'll start defensively first, break that down and see, where we need to improve things to, we have to get better at defensively, go through typing in comments of making sure I hit everything at all 3 levels. And offensively, I'll go through and watch that film as well. I'm just seeing, what are some things that stuck out, for me, whether it's this look like a miscommunication here or misroute, like just seeing those things to have those questions answered by the offensive staff. And it's been a really good process, going through I go through each phase separately, and then I go back and I just rewatch the game in its entirety. Right. Special teams, offense, defense, all mixed together, and just see, okay, where did the game break down for us as a team, all right? If we hold them on this third down or we convert this third. So it's just watching it in its entirety that helps me as well.
Yeah.
Coach, am I right in saying a big plus in staying here this week is practicing the way you want, full control of the total environment, including walkthroughs, right? Because that's a big thing that we don't talk about much, but I know it's big for you guys to show people where to go, how to line up, and you can do it in your own facility at your own pace.
Yeah, it'll be very beneficial. I know we wanted to go to New Orleans and do the joint practices, but, man, it's going to be really good for us to stay here and treat this as a normal in-season week. And it's a good dry run for our coaches, our players to see what an in-season schedule looks like. And the main part of that is a lot of walkthrough. And for me, walkthrough is a chance for you to get that perfect rep and you to bank, like, what does it feel like to do it right every single time? It's slowed down. You get to do it right multiple times, and hopefully just as a memory, you start to bank it, and that's what you start to, go back to or revert to when it starts to speed up. Nothing changed about where you're supposed to be, but the detail of the walkthrough is so important to me. The communication, everything is slowed down, gives you a chance to get it right and keep it right throughout walkthrough. So can't have enough walkthrough with our guys.
As a player, how'd you feel about walkthroughs?
Same, and that's where I think for me as a player, I took walkthrough very important, and probably that's why I'm so hard on our guys in walkthrough. Like, why is he yelling about walkthrough? It was important for me to be in the proper body position, right? Be in the right place, eyes in the right place to get that perfect rep to see what it feels like.
Which makes perfect sense why you're a coach now, because there are a lot of players that look at walkthrough like,
what are we doing?
Coach, when you went back through the film, trenches both sides of the ball, how did you feel about the way, and we talked about this a little bit, we all know you want to be a physical football team, but how did you feel the trenches, having on the offensive side, you have Laramie and Shaq in there, they weren't in there week one, you got Rankins in there this week. How did you kind of feel about the way the trenches went, especially with your front guys?
Yeah, I think starting with the offensive line, I thought they did a really nice job of pass protecting.
Yeah.
Right, we had a lot of clean pockets for our quarterbacks all throughout the game, not just the first group, but the second group as well. Really clean pocket. That's what we want. Right now, when it comes to the run game, feel like there's more. Right, we can finish a little bit better in the run game. We can target better there, and that's where we can improve this week. Then flipping over to the defensive side, just up front, just when it comes to setting the edge, that's one thing we have to improve on. It wasn't there. Just getting off the ball, the urgency that we're looking for out of our pass rush of four guys being in sync, rushing as one, things we have to improve on is not there. And one thing that's like a pet peeve of mine is just the pre-snap penalties where we're lining up in the neutral zone or we're jumping outside. We can't put ourselves in a negative position before we start. So it's just alignment, assignment. Those are things we can control. It's just controlling those small things, and we should see a big improvement from just controlling those things.
Sunday night, you'll be at the Superdome. You've played there as a player. You've coached there. This is a big environment, even in the preseason. And how is that going to help you prepare for Baltimore? Because you'll be in the loud dome, and it might not be as loud as Baltimore on opening day, but it'll be a simulation.
Yeah, very excited about it. The Superdome is always one of the loudest places you're going to play in the NFL. And it's a really, great opportunity for our offense, to play in a loud environment. Like you said, maybe not as loud as Baltimore, but we get to see how we can operate in a loud environment, a different stimulus, which we haven't had before. So it'll be great. This will be a great learning experience for everyone.
Coach, I can't help but think, Mark and I talked about this morning on the radio. 1 week from today, training camp's over. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
And then the hard part comes in. And, this will be the first time that you'll be in this seat to have to do that. Have you given that any thought about we got to go from 90 to 53? I got to talk to these guys and say, for some of you, football dream is over. For some of you, hey, we might keep you around. But for some of you, you got to move on. You kind of thought through that process, the fact that it'll be over in 6 days?
Yeah, John, I think about it every day, right? And that's something it's always on the forefront of my mind, just, how our team will be set and where are we. So it's something that's constantly has my brain running, and it's a sensitive, subject as well, because like you said, some guys who aren't going to make it, you have to move on from them. You spent so much time with these guys and built relationships with them, so it's a sensitive side of it as well. And me being on the other side, seeing guys try to find their path, try to find their career and what works, where they stick. For me, the goal for all of our guys is we can't keep everyone, but I want everyone to make the NFL. Right. So if it's not our team, if it's not our practice squad, hopefully you can make another team or another practice squad. At least you can continue right on the path of your dream of being an NFL player.
Well, plus the bridges don't get burned, right? You might see them again. It could be goodbye for now, the way this league works.
Yeah, you never know. Always, right? You always end on good terms. It's never a goodbye. It's all maybe see you later.
Yeah.
So don't burn any bridges. Always, as I tell you, treat everyone with respect because you never know, when the opportunity come back again.
Also at that point, Nick Caserio points this out, that 1,100 plus NFL players will be available. And you guys are going to have some discussions as to whether there's a player or two or more who could help this team, right?
Right. That's why it's very important, for our scouting department, right, to really be looking at guys on other teams to see, is there someone of value that we want to add to our roster, right? And so it's a lot of work that they're putting in while we're focused on our team and trying to make sure we get our guys better. They're still focused on the other side of that, like, well, is there someone else that we can add from the outside that can help our team and can get us better? So it's a collective effort with the coaching staff, with our scouting department. All of us are working in sync to make sure we have the best, right, 53 guys for the Houston Texans.
All right, we know how much we've been around you enough to know we know you love ball. So this is week 0 of college football. This is week 0 coming up.
Week 0.
You got Notre Dame playing. You got USC playing. During the season, do you get a chance to watch the alma mater at all? Do you get to watch the Crimson Tide at all? Do you catch a game as we're on the road or on a Saturday getting ready for a game?
Yeah, most of it's on a Saturday, right? We get a little downtime before our evening meetings. Sometimes we get an opportunity to catch, college games.
Yeah.
Thankful that Alabama gets a lot of TV time, so I'm able to watch those guys. But really, man, love college football. Yeah. College football is so exciting, right? You never know how games are going to end, how they're going to finish. So it's always fun to watch these young guys, right, chase that dream and see them play. So always, anytime a college football game is on and I have the time, I always kind of watch it.
I've got one more about the Saints. What about the type of team they are? We talked about the environment they play in, but what about the Saints in general and the kind of challenge they pose? I know it's not a regular season game week and the game planning's not quite there, but you have to face that opponent on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Man, really a lot of respect to Dennis and his coaching staff for how the Saints operate, right? They're going to be a physical football team on defense. Offensively, they're going to run the ball. They're going to try to punch you in the mouth. So you have to be ready, on both sides of the ball. And they're very detailed, right? Their offensive coordinator's been there for a long time. They've been running the same system. But, you can tell these guys are really coached well with the Saints on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be a challenge in that regard where we need to improve from this week of owning the details and the smaller, minute details of our job. We're going to be tested on that this week.
Coach, one of the things I thought about, you obviously played in the AFC. It's been a while, but then you went coaching the NFC, and you were in the NFC for a long time. When it comes to learning, we've seen the Ravens a lot, but when it comes to learning about the teams that are early on your schedule, in particular, a lot of AFC teams, from your perspective, and then you'll probably know more about this once you get into the season, but what does it take to really kind of understand teams that you haven't seen a lot of the last few years? Some of them you probably have seen in the crossover games of the AFC, but not much. So when it comes to kind of learning about the Ravens and learning about the Colts, for you, is that difficult? I would imagine you kind of get a little bit of a head start on those teams as you get ready for the season.
Yeah, the Ravens will be a little difficult because of Monken and where he came from, and with him not having previous film with the Ravens, so it'll all be new. It'll be and always that first game, don't know what to expect. Right. So it's looking back at some Georgia film and seeing, what did he do there. So it's just you kind of try to track the coordinators, his history of where he's been, and that's how you kind of get a feel for what that offensive or defensive team will look like.
All right, the Amegy Bank Ask Coach question of the week, Youth League Sports. So tell us about the kids and what they're involved with, and we will require regular updates on this as well. So what can you share with us, Coach?
Well, right now, daughter, she's starting gymnastics.
Okay.
She's doing that, so she's fired up about it. She's doing a really good job. Her first day in, she got bumped up to like the second level or something. So hopefully she gets that from her mother, not dad. Then my son, he's looking to try some football. I don't know if he's going to do tackle or flag. We're kind of still up in the air on which way to go there. But they're all doing jiu-jitsu right now.
Ooh, nice.
So that's a new one for us. Yeah, so I go home and they're trying to take me down. I learn this new move.
So that's martial arts. Is there punching in jiu-jitsu, or is it more like judo where it's defensive?
I'm not sure. It's more like, it was more like choke holds and different kind of holds and stuff. And when my son put me at a choke hold the other day, had me trying to tap out. So he's learning pretty quickly. So. Maybe I need to take a class as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to get your thoughts on tackle versus flag. When you were growing up, when did you start tackle football?
Yeah, see, I didn't start tackle.
You started later.
Yeah,
right.
I started later. I started in 8th grade, so I'm kind of up in the air on the tackle. I was scared to play football. So my son, he's ready to go though. Yeah, Dad, I play tackle. So
there we go.
I'm trying not to hold him back. Just let him do whatever he wants to do.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck this week.
Thank you, guys.